So can somebody get me to spring football already? Is that too much to ask? I don't think it should be, but it would be nice if we could get there like by now. Maybe get me to early March. You know, you get March Madness, you get spring football. Sign me up. Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports Weekly, part of heartlandcollegesports.com. We're your independent Big 12 digital media outlet. We appreciate you joining us and being a part of the show no matter how you get us, whether it's radio, podcast, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it might be. We're grateful you're joining us and you're a part of the show this week. So a lot to get into. I know it's the off season and we still focus heavily on football on this show, but there is no shortage of things to dive into. And I was thinking about this over the past couple of days. You know, the Big 12 has itself a situation where there's a lot of teams considering transfer quarterbacks, right? TCU looking for one, needs one. West Virginia is considering one. Oklahoma is looking at one. There are a lot of options here for the Big 12 when it comes to potential quarterback transfers coming into this conference. And that's great, you know, whether it's names like Jalen Hurts, who's considering Oklahoma, Tate Martell, the Ohio State kid who's considering West Virginia. Justin Fields goes to Ohio State, the former Georgia five-star. That's why Tate Martell is leaving. And, you know, I'm thinking that's well and good. You know, TCU is looking for somebody. They wanted to be on a Hurts roster or radar. Didn't happen. Let me quickly say this, too, on Tate Martell. If you haven't seen QB1, it was a show, like a mini-series, like a real-life Friday Night Lights series that was on Netflix. They followed around 3 stud high school quarterbacks from the, I guess that would have been, 2016 or 17 season. I'm not sure which one. Must have been 16 season. And Tate Martell out of Las Vegas was one of those guys. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't want to judge him. I'm just going to say this. He came across as a little douchey. And by a little, I mean a lot of douchey. All right? That was kind of the deal with Tate Martell. Not saying he won't work in Mountaineer blue and gold. I'm just telling you what I saw on the TV show. And in fairness, probably every 5-star quarterback recruit is kind of a douche. So let's just call it how it is. But anyway, you know, he's considering West Virginia with Neil Brown, with Will Grier gone, and Allison not really stepping up to the plate to be the guy, at least not what we've seen so far. TCU, Justin Rogers, you know, Oklahoma, Austin Kendall's leaving. There's just so much going on in this conference, and they're going the transfer route. Now, the transfer route has worked out. Look at OU, 2 straight transfer guys, 2 straight Heisman winners. It can be fine. But I was thinking about why the Big 12 has been unable to groom quarterbacks. Who was the last great quarterback that was groomed in a Big 12 program? Probably Patrick Mahomes, and his head coach has since been fired, although he's now the head coach of an NFL team. Go figure that one out, right? I mean, that's the last guy you can think of. And here's this conference that has 2 straight Heisman winners. Yes, they're from the same school, but this is a conference that puts points on the board that now the conference's style of play is transferring over to the NFL. You're seeing that with Cliff Kingsbury getting the big job at Arizona with the Cardinals. You're seeing that with Ohio State hiring Mike Yurcich away from Oklahoma State as the offensive coordinator. You're seeing Matt Rule almost get an NFL head coaching job at the New York Jets after going 8-17 in 2 years with Baylor. Look at this conference and the success that it's having when it comes to how its style is affecting the rest of college football and the NFL. That is starting in many ways in the Big 12. Lincoln Riley was being, you know, if Lincoln Riley wanted an NFL job, I'm pretty confident he could have gotten one this offseason. He turned him down wisely, by the way. He had, got a great gig. You're making $5 million a year. Keep doing your thing in Norman. I mean, why go to the NFL again blown out in 2 years? It's not worth it. So why is this conference unable to recruit these guys from the get-go? I get it. The SEC is infiltrating Texas and giving you a hard time recruiting players and whatnot. But, I mean, the Big 12 and all of these teams collectively have got to do a better job pitching the conference and its style to recruits. I mean, tell them, show them what's going on. Hey, we've got 3 head coaches here in this offseason. One who we fired, by the way, in Cliff Kingsbury, who had interest at the NFL level. 30% of our coaches got NFL interest. Cliff Kingsbury, Lincoln Riley, and Matt Rule. Can any other conference say that? Can anybody else go out there and make that case? No, you can't. They can't. So that's something that the recruits should be looking at and saying to themselves, I got to start looking at the Big 12 a little bit closer. Instead of going to Georgia or Clemson or Ohio State to be a 5-star and redshirt and then play backup and then maybe get a chance in a couple of years, let me go to a Big 12 school where I have a better chance to get on the field. I'm playing in probably a better offense with a better offensive mind as a head coach, and I'm getting just as many looks at the next level, if not more. Why wouldn't you do that? And that is a failure of these Big 12 coaches, every single one of them. I know OU's got the 5-star kid coming in and Spencer Rattler. I understand that, I'm sure he's a guy who a lot of people want to see playing as soon as possible for the Sooners. You look at these 5-star guys, they come in, they're playing right away. They're more ready than ever to play at the next level. Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, the guy's got to play 2 more years. Tua Tagovailoa, the guy could have gone to the NFL this year and been the top quarterback taken. He could have done all that. So these guys are ready to play right away. They don't have to sit in the system for a couple of years. And while it's fine, you might get these guys like Jalen Hurts, like Tate Martell. You might get them, and it might work out. But it would be great to have them in the program, having them learn the system, having them learn the style for a year, and getting their feet wet. Not saying they have to sit out, but I'm just saying anytime the kid walks on campus right away, it's a good thing for the program. Yes, Texas has its quarterback now in Sam Ehlinger, but Texas couldn't find a high school quarterback for a decade. And it was freaking Texas in the middle of Austin. Couldn't find – how many NFL quarterbacks are coming out of 15 miles away from Austin, Westlake? You've got Nick Foles going up against Drew Brees. The two guys graduated from the same high school 10 minutes down the road from, Tom Herman's bathroom, and they couldn't find a quarterback for the past 10 years. It's embarrassing. And TCU, yeah, maybe Justin Rogers is the real deal, although, he's still apparently banged up from that leg injury from high school. I don't know if this guy is ever going to be the same. TCU is expecting incoming recruit Max Duggan to be the guy that's, at least going to take most of the steps in spring. So there's just a lot there that we don't have answers on for a lot of these Big 12 teams. But you say, okay, who set at quarterback? And you go Texas. You'd say Texas Tech with Alan Bowman. Ironically enough, how about Texas Tech? Pat Mahomes to Bowman. You could have two really well-groomed quarterbacks coming out of West Texas, and Cliff Kingsbury's out of work. I'm sorry, but I think Texas Tech looks horrible. You better hope that Matt Wells is freaking Nick Saban, okay? I get it that Cliff Kingsbury was 35-40, but geez, he just got an NFL head coaching job, but he wasn't good enough for Texas Tech to turn around for another year. Spare me. Baylor, Charlie Brewer, good shape. Of course, they got the stud quarterback as well, whose name is skipping my mind. Oh, why is it 20? I feel bad. 4-star guy out of Arkansas, I believe it was. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. It is going to come to me. I don't know when, but it's going to come to me. And then, all right, who else do we have here? Bohannon. There he is. Sorry, guys. I got him. It came to my mind. And then you also go down the rest of the Big 12 roster. Iowa State's in great shape at quarterback. Brock Purdy. Think about that. Bowman and Purdy, 2 true freshmen, blew up on the scene this past year, and they're the future at the position for the Big 12. They're not a transfer coming in with a couple of years left. Those guys could be here in the conference for the next 3 years, and that's great for the Big 12. But to think that it's some of the non-traditional blue bloods that are having this type of success for this conference at the quarterback position, it's in many ways a bad job that's been done at the very top. So every Big 12 team should be pitching itself. And frankly, every Big 12 team, maybe minus Kansas, should have at least a 4-star guy coming in at quarterback. There's no reason they shouldn't. They're all, maybe Kansas State, but they're all running very good systems that are now translating more so than ever to the next level. The idea that, the Big 12 doesn't translate to the NFL. Okay, look at last year's Super Bowl. Look what the Eagles did during the Super Bowl last year. Mike Gundy was tweeting about the fact that, hey, some of this stuff is in our playbook, okay? And that's where they got it from. Look at Baker Mayfield. OU, classic Big 12 offense. That doesn't translate to the NFL. Did you see Baker play this year? Okay. Pat Mahomes, 2 years out of Texas Tech, is about to maybe take his team to the Super Bowl and play the Patriots in the AFC Championship game on Sunday. All right. The story's going to tell itself. Will Grier and Kyler Murray, two guys that could be first-round picks in the NFL draft this coming year. The stories tell themselves. And these Big 12 recruiting coordinators, if there's recruiting coordinators for these 10 teams out there, and you guys are listening, I love you all. But reach out to me anytime, Pete Mundo at heartlandcollegesports.com. I will help you with your pitch because every single one of you should have a 4-star recruit at least every other year, if not every year, at the quarterback position. And it shouldn't be that difficult. Pete Mundo, heartlandcollegesports.com. Heartland College Sports Weekly, the show. A lot to dive into. Kyler Murray, by the way, announcing he's entering the NFL draft. What does it mean? What do I make of it? It's all coming up next right here on Heartland College Sports Weekly.